much for joining us for the 4th module of our Foundations course. I'm really excited to be here filming our next module, which is spending time on the right opportunities. And we have here today Joseph Fung, CEO and co-founder of Kite. I'm very excited to be here today with you. So let's cut to the chase. Are all opportunities created equal?
No, that's easy. Let's go to the next one.
Excellent. Tell me more about that. No, actually, I am very interested in this because we talk a lot about B2B and the difference between what it is to sell to businesses versus an individual, like a consumer. And so, from that lens, tell me about what opportunities look like, the span, the spectrum, and what it's like.
Sure. So one of the things that often gets shared with sales reps, there's a lot of adages, a lot of platitudes. One of them is a quick yes or a quick no is as good as a quick yes. It's all a numbers game. All of those things, to a certain extent, they ring true. But I think a lot of reps lose track of the fact that all of those statements apply beyond the first interaction. It's really easy to think about those when you pick up a phone and you call someone for the first time. I'm going to call 100 people, one of them will take my call. But once you've got those opportunities, you've spoken to the prospect, you've found there's need, you've got it on your deal board, all of those comments still hold true. And what's really great about a B2B context is that you've got a group of people, a group of colleagues and systems around you to really stick to your guns there. And that's really a wonderful thing to have. Sounds like it's a team sport. Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much.
Excellent. I understand that. And I myself love to participate in sales specifically but for that team dynamic. But going one level deeper, what is a right opportunity? How do I know when an opportunity is right and how do I know when an opportunity is wrong?
So you're going to have qualification criteria. And they might be things like the characteristics of the business. Is it in a manufacturing industry? Is it a retail industry? Is it North American based? Is it 10 million to 100 million? All of those firmographic details, you're going to get given those. You'll be given others like the pain point, the need. Are they expanding to a second location? Did they just acquire a company? Did they just pick up a new executive? All these business functions that would help you understand. The reality, though, is although those are good criteria to look at, those aren't actually the right things for you to look at as a sales rep and say this is a good opportunity or not. The better lens to look at it is, will this opportunity follow a predictable path? And so anything in there that feels like a wrench or a curveball in that opportunity where you can't predict how it's going to go increases the likelihood that it's a bad opportunity.
That's really interesting, especially as it relates to business, selling to businesses, scale and processes. What might be an ideal path? If you could just paint one for us to help us understand. And what does that look like to a business?
A great way to look at it from an ideal path perspective is not about a specific journey or a specific route, but more specific relationship. If your champion, your lead contact can act as a champion for you, where you can actually have that conversation to say, hey, for me to get you pricing, I can't get you pricing until we've also done X, Y, and Z. Can you help me do that? Or if you can actually say, hey, I've got this deadline, it's going to hit my quota number, can we work to this date? And if that buyer can work with you to help you predict your cycle and your methodology, that's an ideal. Most of your customers, most of your clients, your opportunities won't fit that mold. And that's okay. But what you need to watch for are the ones where there's a big curveball, there's something that's going to throw a wrinkle in it, because those are the ones you want to discard.
Oh, okay. So it sounds like there's room and space to double down on those deals that might not be a perfect fit. But really I should be spending the majority of my time and prioritizing my energy on those that really seem predictable and fit the mold that we've developed for our business and our modeling. Am I hearing that right?
Absolutely. And moreover, that make it easy for you as a rep to predict your business. At the end of the day, we work in businesses and we sell to businesses whose underlying tenet is trying to systematize what we do to deliver products of predictable quality for same price, same cost, which means your customers, your company, your stakeholders are all trying to systematize what they're doing. So your value as a sales rep is being able to do that for yourself as well. When you can predict those deals, you can predict your pipeline, you can predict your actions, and that makes you a more valuable contributor to the organization. So it's going to help you and your team.
Which sounds fantastic, because I only want to help my team. It is a team sport. But what then if I'm talking to a prospect and they don't fit the mold and it looks like they're going down this path that I have no control over? What do I do? Do I break up with them? How do I do that?
100%. Here's a great metric to think about. Sales reps are often obsessing over their time to close. Your time from first touch to when you close that deal is your average 1 month, 6 months, 12 months. And you get these opportunities and you're thinking, I'm moving them forward, that's exciting, and it stretches out longer and longer. And when you look at your pipeline, you often end up finding out that there's a bunch of opportunities who have been there way too long in a few deal stages. And if you only focus on time to close, you never see that. We spent a bunch of time working with Shopify Plus, and it was a head sales rep there who really shared this fantastic insight. They focus on their reps' time to lose. Not just new reps, but all of them. So the idea is, if you have an opportunity and you mark it closed lost, you've disqualified them, you said you're not a good fit, you're a poor quality, let's get it out there. Let's look at the average time to lose. If your average deal to close is 9 months, and your average time to lose is 9 months or longer, that means you have deals sitting in your pipeline, wasting your time when you could be focusing on better ones. So if you focus on time to lose, that'll help coach your people to get bad deals out of your funnel really quickly, and it'll help keep your pipeline cleaner, because then you're spending time on deals that'll actually close, generate you business, and generate the company business.
Got it. And so once you rip those deals out, what happens to them? Where do they go? How do I care about them. I was selling to them. I want to sell them in the future. Can I? Or are they just gone?
100%. And the reality is, very often when you're breaking up with a deal, it's not because they're a terrible company or a terrible person. Things happen. I'm not going to say never. But chances are it's more because of timing or situation. And if you can make that call really early, and if you can tell a prospect, hey, I love what you're working on, but when I think about your timing and I think about our timing and the product that we have, I don't think we're a great fit right now. I think we should speak again in 6 to 9 months, and I'm going to come back to you with more content. Wow, isn't that a powerful message? Instead of you telling a rep, I don't want to buy, they come back and say, you know, I don't think this is the right time. You're going to earn a ton of credit in terms of trust. You're going to save yourself a lot of energy. And the irony is sometimes it actually moves the deal forward because people like having what they can't have.
Yeah, a little bit of push and pull, and
100%.
makes them really question why they're at the table in the first place. So I can see that. So you've given us some great tactics on what to think about, to go back to teams, to implement, you know, measuring the way people are spending time a little bit differently in the funnel, where your reps are spending time in the funnel. What are some other tactics that I can use to go back to my team and say, okay, guys, right opportunities only. That's our focal point. How do I get there?
One of the number one things you can do is actually practice the breakup conversation.
Oof.
It sounds terrible.
All right.
But we practice every day, you know, how do we say our pitch? How do we say our value proposition? How do we move a deal forward? But if you think about it in terms of a breakup, and if you want to maintain a positive relationship with that prospect, you want to treat them with respect. If they're emotionally vested in the situation, you want to treat them with compassion. And I know this can sound very silly, but it's a very terrifying conversation on both sides. As much as a prospect may not want to deal with the anxiety of telling you no, a sales rep probably doesn't want to as well. I think about my first time that I've had to terminate a customer relationship. I was so anxious about it. I let my team know that I was going in to have that breakup conversation. I let them know that I was worried about managing it. And so if I didn't check in on them in 30 minutes to give me a call to make sure that I was moving forward, and I think about the anxiety it caused me and the team and the customer just navigating that way, and that was not a smooth experience. But if you can practice saying it with candor, with compassion, with respect, you're going to sound much more credible. It'll be a much less scary conversation, and then it's less about a bad breakup And it's more about just giving the right recommendation to a client. You're not bothered, they're not bothered, and you'll come back 6 months later and close the deal.
Yeah, right. I'm going to come back in 6 months and see if that's happened. No, you know what? It makes a lot of sense because as sellers, as customer-facing folks, you never want to disappoint. You're there to help solve problems. And so at the end of the day, if you feel as though you haven't been able to do that, it can feel as though you're letting everybody down. And so I can see why practicing that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Joseph, for joining us today. That was great. I look forward to seeing you at our next Kite Academy. Thank you so much for tuning in.